Verbling class. My name is Teacher Amy, and today's class is a writing class, which I usually try to have at least one of towards the end of the week, so that if you do want to practice your writing, just practice some of that grammar and vocab that you've been learning throughout the week, or have a go at just having some fun with writing, because most of the classes on Verbling are about speaking. And writing sometimes something that you do need a little bit of feedback on. So if you have booked a slot in this class, then do come along in now. And if you haven't and you just seen this and you'd like to practice your writing, today's topic is if I were God. So we're actually going to be using the conditional tense, the second conditional tense. And it's a good chance just to have a bit of fun. What would you do if you were God? You can use your imagination. You can write something serious or something funny or something entertaining or something descriptive, whatever you like. So do come along in if you'd like to join us. While we're waiting for everybody, if you are relatively new to Verbling, or maybe this is the first class you've ever seen, you're welcome to come and explore at verbling.com if you're interested in learning a language. This is obviously English, but there are lots of other languages on offer. And if you'd like to find out about a particular teacher, the best place to go is to their teacher page. So if you're interested in finding out more about me or want to see what a teacher page looks like, just click on the link that I have shared in the chat box. And you will see all the information that you should need to know about a teacher. You can watch their videos, you can write a message to them, and you can see their calendar schedule of tutoring sessions and classes. So if that's something that interests you, go ahead and check that out. If you're a Facebook person, you might want to follow some of the teachers on Facebook. And if you'd like to do that, you can click on my Facebook page in the chat box as well. Okay, let's say hello to who we've got today for writing. So first of all, we have Sana or Sana. Hello. Are you there, Sana? No, let's see if we can say hello to Carlos. Can you hear me, Carlos?
Hey, hi, teacher.
Wonderful. All right, I'm not sure what Sana, our other student, maybe isn't having a good connection or something, but it's lovely to see you. Carlos, have I met you before?
No.
Wonderful. Well, here we are meeting. Where are you from?
From Mexico.
From Mexico. What part of Mexico?
Baja California Sur.
Okay, so in the south, I'm guessing?
No, Northwest.
Northwest. Okay, wonderful. And how long have you been on Verbling learning English?
Well, I have been here for a long time, entering to the community,
Yeah.
but I have been in Verbing classes for a week.
Okay, and how's it going? Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, it's fun, very amusing and very interesting, the classes.
Awesome. We're glad to hear that, Carlos. So, welcome to this one. And today we're just going to be mostly focusing on writing, so we won't spend too much time talking. But welcome and lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much. The same.
Thanks. Sana, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Ah, wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Sana. And where are you from? Because I haven't met you before either, I don't think.
No. This is the first time I'm taking your class.
Wonderful. Where are you from?
I'm from Pakistan.
Okay, awesome. I'm not sure if I've ever had a student from Pakistan before. You may be my first, so that's very cool. It's lovely to meet you. So guys, what we're going to do is we're just going to start writing. I'm going to share a link with you in the chat box. So if you can have a look at the Google chat, you'll see the link in there, and then you can click on the link and enter the document, which is here. So just have a go at doing that. And basically, our topic, as you can see here, is at the top of the page. I'll make it a bit bigger. The point that we're going to really try and focus on today is the conditional, the second conditional tense. So if I were God, I would blah, blah, blah. But you have total freedom. You can write whatever you like. You might want to make it a little bit unusual. You might want to add your own twist to it. That's the general topic. You can interpret it in any way that you like. And I'm going to give you about 20 to 25 minutes of writing, depending on if we have any other students arrive. And then we'll read each other's work and we'll make some corrections. So, do you have any questions?
Not yet.
No? All right. Well, if you do think of anything that you're not sure about, then just ask. I'll be here. I'll mute my microphone just so that we can all concentrate, and I hope that you two will also do the same so that we don't get lots of typing noises. And I will see you again in about 20 minutes. So I'll give you a time, and when we've had about 10 minutes, I'll let you know.
Okay, just one thing, Amy. I'm using my mobile. I'm not using computer right now. So
Okay.
where am I going to write exactly?
If you prefer, you can just write on some kind of a notes application or something, and then you can copy and paste your writing into the chat box or into the document after. I'm not sure which you're able to access. You should be able to access something. It might just be the chat box, in which case I can put it into the document for you and then we can correct it on the screen.
Okay.
So just have a fiddle around, see what you can come up with. Sana. And everything okay with you, Carlos? Whenever you're ready, you can get going. Just write your name in the document so that we know who's writing, and then you can start writing underneath. Blah, 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 blah. There we go.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, see you guys in 20 minutes. Okay, everybody, just about 10 more minutes. Okay, about 5 more minutes, so it's time to start wrapping up what you're writing and check through carefully to see if you can find any mistakes. And in about 5 minutes, we'll read through and start making some corrections. Okay, so what we need to do is I can see that you guys have been typing somewhere else. So if you could somehow get your writing across to me, copy and paste it into the document or copy and paste it into the chat box, and then I will transfer it over for you. So, Carlos, are you there?
Yes, only 30 seconds and I finish.
Okay, you need 30 more seconds, no worries. How about you, Sana? Are you nearly done? Are you there, Sana? Oh, she's disappeared. All right, Carlos, let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Ah, are you there, Sana? Are you having a connection issue?
Hello?
Oh, wonderful. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I was able to hear you before as well.
Ah, but I couldn't hear you, so something happened with your microphone, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I have already copied it on the chat box. Did you
Ah,
find it?
No. It's not in the chat box for this class. Can you try pasting it in there again?
Okay, I'll do that.
Brilliant, thank you.
Have you got it now?
No. Can you see where I pasted the link to the document? Can you see that link on
No,
there?
no, I
I
didn't
wonder
find
which
that.
chat box we're using. It needs to either be the Google chat or the Verbling chat, but I can't see it in either of those chats at the moment.
Okay. In this Hangout chat only, I have pasted it.
Yeah, but it hasn't come up, which is kind of weird. I'm just going to refresh my page and see if it comes up. So just give me a second, I'll be right back.
Sure.
Okay, let's see if that's worked. Nope. All right, so it doesn't seem to be pasting into the chat box, or maybe, can you identify the chat icon that you're using, Sana? Is it a little blue box with white lines, or is it a dark blue box with a yellow V?
It's green in color actually.
Ah, okay, this might be why there's a problem, because you're probably using a different chat box. Can you see icons that come up on your screen when you sort of touch it or press your finger somewhere? On the left, there should be a list of icons.
Nothing is appearing like that. No list of icons.
Okay, let
It's
me show
only the
you.
top bar that is appearing.
All right, because you're on your phone, it might be slightly different. Let me just show you what my screen looks like. If you have a look at this, it's a little bit confusing, I know, because I've... but if you can see on the left, can you see like a list of icons? There's a blue box, a green one, a yellow one, and some different icons down here. So I need you to see if you can find the icon that either looks like that, the little blue box with the white lines that says chat, or...
Is it okay if I send you an email?
Yeah, so it's not ideal because I'm not supposed to be sharing my email address. I wonder if you
Okay.
could go onto the Verbling, if you can go onto the Verbling normal site and find my teacher page. I'll give you the link to it, and then you can send me a message via Verbling, and then I'll get it. Let's
Yeah,
try
sure,
that.
I'll do that.
All right, so let me just give you the link to my teacher page. You can go straight there. It's just burbling.com/teachers/AmyG. So let me put it onto the screen for you. And then while we're waiting for you, we'll go through Carlos's. Can you see that there?
Mm-hmm.
That's the link to my teacher page. If you send me a message, Sana, via that, and then I'll get your writing that way. Okay?
Sure, I'm doing that.
Brilliant. All right, we'll be back to you in a moment, and we'll go to Carlos. So, Carlos, I'm looking forward to reading this. Could you read it out for us, please?
Yes. If I were God, I would eradicate war from Earth. I would eliminate suffering and pain, and I would make everybody happy. Nobody would be thirsty or hungry. Everybody would be rich, no money problems. Everybody without diseases, all immortals in a happy scenario. If I were God, there would not be death, no cancer, no AIDS, no diseases, not even a cold. If I were God, I would let humans the power to fly, to travel across the universe to the speed of light. If I were God, hell would not exist, and all our dead relatives would be alive in other planets of the universe, all living together. If I were God, sadness would not exist, depression would not exist too. If I were God, everybody could choose their age. Uh, I would create other kinds of life in other planets. I'm erasing because it's devil would not exist. Also, I would create a time machine, and this way humans could travel across the time everywhere they wanted. No death would exist, nobody could die. No religions would exist, no religious wars, not abortion, not bullying. If I were God, everybody would have a perfect body, nobody would kill animals to eat. Not animal suffering, no questions. Everybody would know every answer of the universe. Finally, no punishment would exist, and everybody would be free.
Wow, that's a pretty awesome kind of imaginary world, Carlos, and really nice writing. You've used some great vocabulary. Well done. And so your grammar is pretty much perfect, but just the way that you've written it, let's just see if we can go through and improve it a little bit. So I see that you were kind of a bit confused about maybe just too many sentences or commas or whatever. So let's start from the beginning. If I were God, so generally, if we're talking about like God as in the one God, you know, depending on whether you believe there's one God or more than one or none or whatever, if we're talking about one God, we usually use a capital. But if we're talking about gods in general, like the Greek gods, say, then we would leave it with lowercase. So for this, I think maybe with a capital is better. So if I were God, I would eradicate war from Earth. I would eliminate suffering and pain, and I would make everybody happy. Perfect. Perfect first sentence and really, really good vocab. Nobody would be thirsty or hungry. Everybody would be rich. Okay, so this is fine. As a sort of a statement. But then when we get to here, we need to make sure that we have the right, like enough verbs to kind of make it make sense. So everybody would be rich, and I think it might be better to say, and there would be no money problems. Unless you want to make it poetic. If you want to make it poetic, then none of the rules apply, and you could do whatever you like. But let us just say we want to make it a piece of sort of prose writing, so we need a little bit of explanation, and there would be no money problems. Those two things go together, right? And then I'd say maybe have a full stop because we've got another point. Everybody without diseases. We don't usually say without disease. We would usually say free from disease. So everybody would be free from disease. And we can say disease, and that covers like everything, any kind of illness, right? And then you go on to explain it a little bit more. I'd maybe put a dash, and then if you put a comma, the problem is that you're lacking a verb. So all immortals in a happy scenario would be fine then, because it's linked to this part. Or you could create a new sentence. And then we go on to if I were God. Let's do that again. There would not be death. It sounds a little bit funny to say there would not be death. Maybe there would be no death, or death would not exist is better. Oops. No cancer. Cancer doesn't need a capital. No AIDS. And we just say AIDS. We don't need to spell. Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button, sorry. No AIDS, no diseases, not even a cold. Great. Perfect. If I were God, I would let humans the power to fly. You can't let the power to fly. You can let humans have the power to fly, but you need another verb after let. So you could say, I would give humans the power to fly, or I would let humans have the power to fly. To travel across the universe. Again, this is an incomplete sentence, so we could put a dash here just to explain. To travel across the universe at the speed of light. Wow, that would be awesome, Carlos. I want to live in your universe. If I were God, hell would not exist, and all our dead relatives would be alive on other planets in the universe. I know what you mean when you say of the universe. It sounds a little bit funny in English. That's the problem, to say of the something. We usually would say like on other universal planets, but that sounds funny as well. So on other planets in the universe sounds better to me. All living together. So when you die, you don't go to like wherever we go these days. We don't know where it is. You go to another planet, right, Carlos?
Yes.
That's a cool idea. So can you visit the other planets, like, if you want to, when you're alive? Do you have to wait till you die before you can visit the other planets?
Sorry?
In your imaginary world, is it possible to visit your relatives on another planet before you die?
Yes.
Awesome! This is very
Yes.
cool. Okay. All living together. If I were God, sadness would not exist. Depression would not exist. We don't put to if we're talking about negative things. We put either. It means the same as to, but because we've got a negative thing would not exist, we put either, okay, to mean as well, or to. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. If I were God, everybody could choose their age. That is also a very cool idea. How old would you be, Carlos?
25.
How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
26.
Wow, that's a big change. And you don't like being 26 as much as you liked being 25?
No, I prefer to be more younger.
That's so funny. Okay, if I were God, everybody could choose their age, and I would create other kinds of life on other planets. And then let's put a full. And then okay, we can't just put a comma, so let's just put and the devil would not exist. Okay, I would create a time machine. And this way, humans could travel across time. It might be better to say through. We generally would travel through time rather than across, although I guess across isn't. It depends how you see time travel, I guess. Everywhere they wanted. No death would exist, and nobody could die. Because they just go to another planet, right? Be cool. No religions would exist. No religious wars. Just one letter different. And because you need an adjective, and religion is the noun, okay? So here, when you don't have a verb, right? So you don't have a verb here, you just say no religious wars. We can't have a comma preceding it because then it means it's an incomplete kind of clause. So you can remedy that by putting a dash, or you have to change it to something like, and there would be no religious wars, okay?
Mm-hmm.
No abortion. So, okay, that's all right because you're kind of emphasizing it by putting it in a really, really short sentence. So that's okay. No abortion, no bullying. If I were God, everybody would have a perfect. Oh, yes, please. That would be awesome. No one would kill animals to eat. No animals suffering. No questions. Same thing here. You're explaining it. Everybody would know every answer of the universe. Full stop, because you're going to go finally. No, and then a comma. Finally, no punishment would exist and everybody would be free. Awesome. So that was near perfect. I mean, all of the corrections I made were absolutely tiny things. So just remember, it's life on the other planets. That's something you'll definitely hear if you watch like a David Attenborough or a documentary or something. And just be careful of like short sentences. Make sure that you've got a verb or that you have a dash just to show a little bit of extra information. So do you understand everything I've corrected, Carlos?
Yes, I
Awesome.
understand it.
That's brilliant. Okay, well done. Thank you for sharing that with us. It was a very interesting kind of view. So let's see what Sana has said. We're going to read hers and see how it differs to you. I've got yours, Sana, so well done for managing to do that. I'm going to paste it down here. And could you read yours for us, please? Are you there, Sana?
Yes, I am. Are you able to hear me?
Yep, I am. So if you could read yours, that would be brilliant.
Okay. Actually, I just copy and pasted it.
So you can't see it?
I can't see it properly. Wait, I'll just do it. Yeah, here it is. How boring the life is. Seems I don't have any control over it. I wish I were God and would have complete control over my life. Only if I were God, I would not have created a stomach in human body because I feel that's the point where all the problems ever started. If the stomach wasn't there, people didn't have to work so much to fulfill this need, and they could afford to be lethargic and could lazy around when they wanted. Could have enjoyed the luxuries, but wait, how would they afford to have luxuries if they wouldn't work? So if I were God, I wouldn't have created these luxuries so that everyone will be equal. Now here is a complicated point again. Even to remain equal, everyone had to do some work to fulfill their own and each other's needs. I believe it's getting very complicated here. After all this critical analysis, I feel if I were the god, then I would have done nothing more or less than what the god is doing.
That was great, Sana. Very entertaining. And you bring up a very good point. It's rather complicated thinking about what God should do, right? If you believe in God, of course. Okay, so let's have a look. Excuse me. Okay, so you started off, it's a nice kind of relaxed sort of, I don't know, pensive feel, I guess. How boring. And then we don't need that with life unless we're talking about a particular life. But because you're talking about life in general, we just say life, no article, okay? So how boring life is. And then ... we need it before seems. It seems. And then we need an apostrophe. It seems I don't have any control over it. And then I think full stop. So we've got a new sentence. I wish I were God and would have complete control over my life. Perfect. Only, if I were God, I would not have created the stomach. In this case, we're talking about it as a kind of a thing that everybody has. So in this kind of situation, we would use the to show that it's a part of the body that everybody has. You could say a stomach, but generally we'd say the stomach. So the stomach in the human body. Same reason, because everyone has one. Because I feel that's the point where all the problems started. We don't say have started because we're talking about something really far back in the past, right? So the present perfect's a little bit too close to home, I think, for this one. If the stomach wasn't there, people wouldn't. Because this is hypothetical, right? Didn't is like definitely happened or didn't happen because it's negative in the past. But because we're talking hypothetically, if the stomach wasn't there, we need to use wouldn't. Wouldn't have to work so much to fulfill this need, and they could afford to be lethargic and could laze. You can't say lazy around, although I quite like that, but it's not correct. You could laze around because that's the verb, to laze around. It's a bit of a colloquial one, but a nice one when they want it. We need the subject again. We can't have something without a subject. So they could have enjoyed the luxuries. I think we need to get rid of have because it changes the tense, and what we are talking about is would or could hypothetically, so we need to stick with that. They could enjoy rather than they could have enjoyed. Could have enjoyed is something one step further back. It's something that didn't happen in the past, whereas this is, I guess that you could argue that it didn't happen in the past. But because we're explaining it hypothetically, it just sounds a bit funny to change the tense. So let's stick with this. They could enjoy luxuries or the luxuries. All the luxuries might be better, just the luxuries sounds a little bit funny. But wait. Cool, don't have a comma. And I think we need an exclamation mark. Because then you're going to ask a question. How would they afford to have luxuries if they didn't work? This is a second conditional, so that's why I need to put didn't. How would they afford to have luxuries? It's the same as saying if they didn't work, how would they afford to have luxuries? So if I were God, I wouldn't have created these luxuries so that everybody would be equal. Now, here is a complicated point again. Even to remain, and then I think a dash, even to remain equal, everyone had to do some work to fulfill their own and each other's needs. I think we need to put it in the present tense here because this is like, you could just argue that this is actually what happens now, right? Or you could say would have to, if you want to keep it hypothetical. So even to remain equal, everyone would have to, or has to, do some work to fulfill their own and each other's needs. Perfect. I believe it is. So we need an apostrophe. It's getting very complicated. Excuse me. After all this critical analysis, I feel if I were God, then I would have done nothing more or less than what God is doing. I think we need one more word here. Now. Just to balance out the sentence, to make it a bit more punchy. But overall, Sana, that was really good. What you have got is quite a complicated little explanation using different tenses. So you've done really well. Try to be consistent. That's what you need to look for when you're checking through. If you think about how you're thinking about the thing in your mind, sort of try to separate it into past, present, or hypothetical, and then you'll know which tense to use so you can stick with it and stay clear to your reader. Otherwise it becomes a little bit confusing if you're bouncing between the past or the present, for example, okay? Do you understand all of the things I've mentioned there? Is there anything confusing?
I did understand. Can you send me this document with correction?
Yeah, no problem.
Is there any
Yeah, sure. What I can do is just to make it easy for you, I will just send you back a message from what you sent me, okay? I've done that now. So if you go
Yeah.
back to the verbling, you can see that. And Carlos, you can just grab your corrections from this document straight through, okay?
Okay.
Right, guys, well done. That was a very interesting, completely different interpretation. Carlos created an imaginary universe, and Sana decided she couldn't cope and that God's doing a pretty good job already, right, Sana?
Yes.
Awesome. Well done, guys. That was a really tricky theme and a tricky usage of conditionals. So you both did awesome. Well done. I hope you have a great weekend.
The same.
Same to you.
Take care, and maybe I'll see you again next week or some other time. See you later.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.
Amy, can I ask you one thing?
Sure.
Yeah, all your classes are available at 1 a.m. or 12 a.m. Is it possible that you give some classes around 8 a.m. in the morning? I'm talking about UAE time because I stay here in UAE.
Where? Ah, okay, yeah. What's the time for you right now? 1 a.m.
It's 2 a.m. right now.
2 a.m. right now, which means, okay. So I'm not actually in control of when my classes are set, Sana. But what I do is I provide some free time, and usually, I'm only available to teach at this time on Verbling because I do other work at other times of day. Sometimes I do have classes in the evening for me. So you'll just have to, I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can expand a little bit the time outside of the usual time for me. It's a little bit tricky because I'm not in control of when Verbling assigns me the slots. But
Okay.
it may be possible. I will see what I can do.
Please, because I really love this class.
I'm glad to hear that, Sana. That's awesome news. Yeah, it'll be lovely to see you again. I'll see if I can wangle something.
Sure.
All
Please.
right. Take care. I hope you
Okay,
have a good
thank you.
weekend. All right. See you later.
Same to you.
See you.
Bye. Bye,
Okay,
Carlos.
bye.